anyone who's watching this video, let me just request all of you to first of all stop calling South Indian cinema as regional cinema because you know it's not like Hindi is spoken all over the country. So Hindi cinema or Bollywood is the face of Indian cinema. It's not like that. That way, even one could argue Hindi is also regional cinema because it's spoken in a few regions and not all over India. So for Tamil Nadu, Tamil cinema is not regional cinema. It's their cinema. Same way for Kerala, Malayalam cinema. For and you get what I mean. So give respect to all these industries. Give respect to the hardworking filmmakers who are creating such amazing stuff day in day out. Hi everyone, welcome back to our not so weekly podcast because now we are doing videos more than once a week. And today, Sneha and Farhad, the usual suspects, are back. Uh, Good to have Sneha after a couple of weeks of gap, and she was not available, guys. It's not like she was being choosy that okay, I'll do this film, not that film, or something like that. She was out of town, so she couldn't do it. But Sneha, you were in demand, so I hope that people uh, will be happy to see you back again. And yeah, so we were thinking how there have been so many amazing films this year. We are already in September, and I think in July, Farhad and me did a video which was all about the best stuff of 2021 we have seen in Hindi. So we thought, why not do a compilation of that like we did before? Let's do something in South, like the best of South that we have seen. That includes all the major languages. So we are going to pick a few favorites of ours that we have really loved watching, and we will tell you why we love it. We will tell you why you should watch it if you haven't watched it. So let's start with Farad, who has seen the most out of all of us. He has seen the most number of films. He literally sent us a list, and we were like, "Oh my God, we don't even know all these movies exist." But that's because he runs a proper review website, guys. You should check it out in the link below. Popcorn reviews. So Farad, let's start with you. Which is like, forget the language. Just if I talk about South Indian films, your most favorite of the year so far, regardless of the language.
So that would be like, so hi guys. So firstly, there have been many releases that have, there are many movies that have released this year, and amazing movies. But I've had to pick one movie, which, by the way, is my all-time favorite movie of the year so far. It has to be Nayattu. It is a Malayalam film which is on Netflix, and I think in your podcast only, Keshav, earlier podcast. I had mentioned it, I think, several times also that Nayattu is my favorite movie.
And we,
And
and we are very sorry, guys, that we have not done a Nayat dedicated podcast. That will be done soon as well. But yeah, Farhad, go on.
yeah, so just it is just about building a drama thriller and creating the tension that is there, and also making it socially relevant. If I have to do all of that, and if I have to study a movie keeping all these factors in mind, then it has to be Night 2, hands down. I mean, that movie, it was so hard hitting that it stayed with me long after the movie had ended. And probably that ending that was there, it made me a little sad as well. It angered me a little also, and there were like many emotions in play at the end of it. That helplessness was also there. So Night 2, I mean, it was like one of the best movies that I've seen this year. I mean, there's no I mean, there are a few that come close, to be honest, but I mean, if I had to choose one, it has to be Night 2 this year.
Okay, Sneha, which one comes to your top of head right now?
I think Sarpata Parambarai. Because the first time I watched it, it was primarily for the review. So, and it was in a rush. But I watched it a few days back again, and it was so wholesome. Like everything was spot on. Like from music to direction to the story, screenplay, acting, everything. And also like I haven't seen a lot of period dramas in the recent times, so that's why it was even more interesting. And plus also I haven't seen a lot of Arya's work, so it was like, you know, watching him on screen made me realize that, oh, I need to watch more of his stuff. And also like when we watched it the first time, it was, you know, a parallel of sorts with Tufan. While rewatching it, I realized that it wasn't really fair to compare them both together, because it had a lot of unique elements which I haven't seen in a lot of other sports films. Like Arya's character, for example, there's a certain amount of softness to his character, which I haven't really seen in a lot of sports movies. They're mostly aggressive, macho, which they eventually channelize into their sport. So yeah, I think the characterization was great and it was so entertaining. So yeah, Sarpata is definitely up on my list right now. I like, it's like just a great family entertainer also. It's great to watch on a weekend on an afternoon. So yeah, it was a really good watch.
Yes, I agree. And we didn't really do a conscious sort of a comparison between those two. It was just the timing that both of them came at the same time. Both of them were on Amazon. Both of them were on boxing. So that's what made us do a video together on both of them. We didn't really want to compare it as such, but yeah, I get your point. So if you ask me, the one that comes to the top of my head right now. Okay, I have a confession to make. I started watching Malayalam films just this year. Okay, and that was I'm not too proud of it, but better late than never. So I started with a couple of films, and thankfully both of them didn't have a lot of dialogues in it. So it was an easy transition for me to, get into Malayalam films and understand how things work over there. And I think probably the best decision I made was watching Joji as the first Malayalam film I ever saw, because that film, in one film, I fell in love with Malayalam cinema. I fell in love with Fahad Fasil, and I fell in love with Kerala. So all these things happening all together, I think I couldn't have asked for a better start to my journey into Malayalam cinema, and exploring more and more amazing stuff. And I also ended up, so I watched back to back Joji and then The Great Indian Kitchen, and both of them, I mean, I was like, wow, these guys are doing stuff that Bollywood should envy, because something like that, especially since I mentioned Joji, so in that I knew it was partially adapted from Macbeth, and also the fact that I didn't know anything about Fahad Fasil before that, okay, and I went in without any expectations. I went in without any idea about what Kerala politics are, or what stuff works there, what doesn't work there, what are the metaphors, what's the environment and atmosphere like in every aspect, not just political but also household and so that way I think I for me, Joji will always have a very special place in my heart, because that was my introduction to Malayalam cinema. And after that, I've not looked back. I have seen almost all of Fahad Fasil films, and yeah. So right now, like I think it came in April, and we are in September. So at this point of time, I regard him as the best actor in India right now. So you can imagine my fandom. So, so yeah, okay. So now let's pick a few other favorites that we have. This was the most favorite that we have picked up so far. So, Farhad, coming back to you, I'm sure you have seen a lot of other languages films as well. You picked a Malayalam one, so now what's the next one that was your favorite?
Uh, so the next one would So this is not in particular order that I'm mentioning, just to be clear. So it is just like I'm picking another one. After Nayattu, everything is like on the same level for me. So the next that I have picked is a Telugu film called Cinema Bandi. It
Okay.
is produced by Raj and DK, and it is on Netflix.
Yeah.
Again, I think it is one of the best comedies I have seen like this year. It is a comedy. It's about a simple story about a humble auto rickshaw driver who finds a camera in his auto rickshaw once. It is left behind by somebody, and then he decides to make a film on it. So the tagline of the movie is that everyone is a filmmaker by heart, and that is just it resonates so much with all of us, the cinephiles that we are, that we all at some point want to make our own film somewhere, even if it's a short movie, even if it doesn't reach a very audience, even if it's just for the family where there's a recording, we are somewhere, we are a filmmaker, and that just taps it perfectly. And there are certain scenes that I still recall and I laugh at them. It's like it's outstanding, the comedy that is written. Also, it has an emotional thread to it, and a very heartwarming end. I would say that it just fills you up with a lot of happiness. So if you're looking for something just to unwind, I think this is the movie definitely that you should check out on Netflix.
All right, then you
And
have.
there are a bunch of fresh faces in this film also, and so it just shows that you don't need big stars to have like great content. I mean, the content speaks for itself. So it's like amazing.
Well, Farhad, thank you so much. You have given me an option for watching a movie tonight. I was contemplating what should I watch tonight. So I think Cinema Bandi is a strong contender right now. Sneha, you picked a Tamil film in the first round of favorites, and now which region are you going into?
Telugu.
Okay.
So I really like Jati Ratnalu. It was and also it was like a very one-off movie, and the reviews were really good. So I was very intrigued to watch, and plus I really like Naveen Polishetty. And also, it's a movie about three friends, and the other two characters are played by Priyadarshi and Rahul Ramakrishna. So I had seen another movie about three friends, another Telugu movie about three friends, slapstick comedy called Broshe Varu Varera. If I'm sorry for the pronunciation, but apart from Naveen's character, the other two friends, they were played by Priyadarshi and Rahul Ramakrishnan. So I was very intrigued to see, okay, like what else can they bring to the table, and it was just so slapstick and funny and hilarious. So like I think another recommendation, if you don't want to watch Cinema Bandi, then you can watch this. It was a fun watch, and also like watching the movie made me realize that sometimes knowing the language really helps, because a lot is lost in translation, especially if it's comedy. Because a lot of dialogues, a lot of things are, you know uh, their heart and soul lies in the cultural references which we are not aware of. We can watch, like, even though the subtitles are pretty much accurate most of the time and they make you laugh, but some things, some physical comedy, some references, those things, for that you need to know the language and the place. So yeah, watching that made me realize that yeah, maybe we should learn these languages now, because a lot of it is lost in translation, I guess.
It is. It is. I think I was listening to some interview a few months ago where somebody had actually pointed out that even with subtitles, sometimes the literal meaning, it's not the literal meaning which translates into. There are some abstract hidden meaning as well, which only comes out in the original language. Because, as you said, you have to understand not just the language but also the local culture to get that joke or that humor or anything that is referred to. But yeah, so I think we have got two Telugu films now, which I wasn't really expecting, because a lot of films that have come this year have been Malayalam. I mean, Malayalam cinema has churned out more movies than any other industry in the country so far. So yeah, good to have two Telugu films in the list as well. I'll go. I first said a Malayalam film, Joji. So second one, okay, this is a very out of the box pick that I'm taking. But again, as I said, this Joji was the first Malayalam film I ever saw. So I am going for Master because that was the first Tamil film I ever saw in a theater. Okay, so this is not in terms of like in terms of filmmaking or something that I loved it and all that. Just the experience of going to a theater and sitting amongst Tamil audience. Even in Mumbai here, a lot of Vijay fans, Tarapati fans, and Vijay Setupati fans, and just that whole. Atmosphere that gets created in the theaters, because I've spent 6 years in Chennai before, and I regret the fact that I never went to watch a Tamil film in theaters over there. I did go once just to watch MS Dhoni in Tamil. I did watch in Hindi first, and then I watched in Tamil because uh, I mean, I wanted to experience that, but I so regret not going for so many amazing films that would have come in those 6 years. But here, when I went for Master, I mean, I was blown away by the fandom these guys have. I mean, it's another level of fandom. They literally worship their stars. I mean, people.
I was very happy about it.
People brag about Salman Bhai following here, but those guys have no effing idea what kind of worshipping happens down south. I've literally seen people. If you can check out those videos on YouTube, uh, theater reaction and all those things, just for Master, just check it out. The entry of Vijay and the entry of Vijay Setupati and all those things. I mean, people go mad. They go berserk. They take off their clothes literally. They go topless and then they dance right in the front of screen. Nobody is there to watch the film or experience the film in a way that we do as cinephile, or nobody's there to really observe the nuances of filmmaking. Nobody gives a damn about that when it's a Tamil film of Talapati, especially. Everywhere, that's it. It becomes a celebration, and people are just there to have a good time, have a picnic, sort of. And so, yeah, for me, I'm picking Master just because of that cinema going experience and what it means to be in that atmosphere. So I think we have we have done 2 rounds so far. So for the third round, let me go anti-clockwise now. So Sneha, I'll come back to you. Which is your next pick now?
Great Indian Kitchen. So also Great Indian Kitchen was also very special because I hadn't watched a Malayalam movie in a very long time. So I was just busy with work, and I just hadn't watched a new movie for a very long time. And I saw your podcast, and I was like, yeah, maybe this weekend I should watch this. And I watched it with my mom. It was my mom's first Malayalam movie. And for the first few minutes, we were just trying to absorb all of it. And there were not a lot of dialogues in the first few minutes. We were just absorbing all of it, and then the pace it took, it just went on another level. And it was just amazing, like everything about that movie. And especially Nimisha, like huge shout out to her. Like, she's a favorite now. Like this year with Great Indian Kitchen and Malik, she's just
Night also.
yeah, Naito also. Yeah, I'm yet to watch that, but I've heard great reviews. So yeah, and also it was special because my mom was watching and I was so like excited to introduce her because she had the same reaction about Malayalam cinema that we had. That it's so simple yet so relatable. Everything feels very relatable. It does not seem fancy and
Also, a
like just a
very powerful message at the end as well.
yes, exactly. She was just for the first few minutes like she's the main lead. She's not wearing any makeup, It's like, because she does not need to, because she's so good at her work. You do not need to worry about these superficial things just because you're so good at your work. So yeah, like Great Indian Kitchen was a very special movie, I think, because after that, now whenever a new Malayalam movie releases, even if I'm watching it for the podcast, my mom watches it with me, and we just have a good time. We just know it's going to be good, and yeah.
So, the next movie that I have picked, it's a Tamil film, okay, and it's called Mandela. Now, listening to Mandela, what would you think? Like, it's on Nelson Mandela. It's not a Nelson Mandela. It's a small village story, and it's a political satire. It's again available, by the way, on Netflix. Mandela is on Netflix again, and it it's set in a small town, where small village where there are elections that are going to take place, and what all the circus that happens just before the elections that we all are used to seeing nowadays. That all has happened, like that all is shown in a very comic sense, and Yogi Babu, who we've all seen as a comic relief in many movies, he plays the lead here. And I mean, he's not only restricted to a comic role, it's a slightly more serious role and slightly more meteor role. So he's done a fantastic job. I couldn't believe that, they actually had written a movie where he had to shoulder it on his own star power, if I can say so. But I mean, it was fabulous, and it was one of the more satisfying experiences that I had watching this year. And I had, I think, written in my review also that it is probably the best satire of the year. I mean, it was that outstanding. It was like amazing, and I think you should totally watch this movie. It's a Tamil film on Netflix, Mandela.
Okay, the movie I'm going to pick up now is Kurudi, because this is one movie that really stayed with me. It's been so many weeks since I watched it, and still, the way they picked up that delicate subject, the way they handled it maturely, because it's the only film that comes close to that kind of a film is Mulk, where there was a little bit of preaching as well. But in Kurudi, I thought it was very reasonably handled. I mean, there was a lot of reasoning and logic behind everything, every move of the director, and uh, because Hindu versus Muslims has been, talk of the town for so long now, and nobody has dared to touch that subject. And these people, I'm not sure if this was made in Hindi, if this would have approved by the censor board, or there would have been a lot of cuts, or maybe there would have been effigies being burnt, because
Don't give them ideas.
yeah, so so that way, I think you have to give it to Malayalam cinema and the people who made it. I'm forgetting the name of the director, but I think Prithvi also produced it, and nobody was actually ready to play the role of Layak, and he himself did it. And once again, kudos to him, and also, of course, Roshan Matthew for again being such a sport. He played that character so effortlessly. I still remember his performance from See You Soon. He's also doing a Hindi film with Alia, but I think
This would probably be in my top four. That if you're saying top four, then this will definitely be.
we
And
can
it's
call
like,
it we can call it Fab
yeah,
Four.
we can call it Fab Four. Yeah. So Fab Four. So this is strictly based on each language that I have picked. So I have picked now one from Kannada as well, and the movie is Hero,
Okay.
and it's a movie which has Rishabh Shetty. Uh, it's again like an action comedy, so to say, but it's so well done. I mean, just to give you a small perspective, by the way, this movie you will find it on Z5, and the review, of course, you'll find it on Popcorn Reviews. And so this movie, I'll just give you a perspective of where the comedy is. The character names, okay, the main lead. So he's referred to as Hero, the heroine is referred to as heroine, and the villain is referred to as villain. They don't have names in the movie, basically. That is the characters that they essay.
How do they
So
call? How do they call each other?
So you'll have to see the movie for that. I don't want to reveal too much of it, but they refer to each other as hero, villain, and heroine only. So that is something I haven't witnessed in any other movie, you can say. And knowing Rishabh Shetty and also his, I think, brother, whose also movie is going to come out this year later, this Charlie 777, which is Rakshit Shetty. So they actually are known to make, they've created a niche for themselves, I think, in the Kannada industry, and it's like amazing that I'm a fan of their work basically. And here it was Rishabh Shetty who was there, and I just had a great time. And this movie is, by the way, gory as well, but it will make you laugh as well. It's a unique combination basically. So I really loved Hero here. So that was one that I would like to just push it into the list as well. Though I don't know whether it will be appealing to everybody. Like the previous three films that are there, that would be universally appealing. This one would be a little niche because you need to get used to that wacky sense of humor. If you are not very used to that sense of humor, then you might find it very boring, and you will find it like, what is going on, why the hell is it going on. But I mean, I just had a gala time, watching that movie. I have memories of it, so
Uh,
yeah, that is one.
so since Farhad has pushed the envelope so far now, so Sneha, let's fit in one more for you in the Fab Four. Which one is your pick?
I would have to pick Navarasa. Um, like I wouldn't say that all the stories were as amazing as I was expecting them to be, but first of all, the cause that they were making it for was really nice. And also, it's a big thing that an industry as big as the Tamil industry coming together to for its uh, for all the industry crew and everything. So I think it was made for a very good cause, and plus I think it was made like all the stories, even though some of them lacked a little bit of soul and heart, they were very well made and very well executed. Plus, the teaser was just bang on. I watched it on loop for like 2 3 days. So yeah, I think Navarasa was could have been better, but then I think it was nice. It was a nice one time watch.
uh, mm,
Ah. So which one out of the nine stories would you pick as your favorite out of that?
Um, Payasam. Yeah, one about disgust.
oh,
Uh,
interesting.
yeah, I think it was just interesting, and also like I was watching Mani Ratnam's interview, and he said that like disgust was one of those emotions which a lot of directors weren't going for. So to pick that and then make such an interesting story about it, it was portrayed very interestingly, like because when we think about disgust, a different emotion or a different thought comes to our head, but it was portrayed very nicely across the story.
So
So I like that.
are you sure you're not picking it because of your biasness towards Mani Ratnam? I know what a big fan.
Um, maybe, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, so my entry for the Fab Four, the final entry will be Malik, because Malik is such a film that is probably Malayalam industry's answer to Gangs of Wasseypur, and India's answer to Godfather, probably. I just felt that for Mahesh Narayanan to be able to create that world, and the film was long, okay, but you will not really feel the length because everything was so cohesive, and especially cinematography, it didn't really make the film look like a slog. Especially if you remember the first 13 minutes, it's a continuous shot, and again, Fahad Fasil, I mean, I was under the impression it could be probably his career best performance because he had to play different ages in one film, and again, of course, he did it very effortlessly, and but then I suddenly remembered, okay, what about Trance? What about Kumulangi Nights? I mean, even those characters he did so well. So it's very difficult to pick the career best performance of an actor like him. But yeah, Malik, the whole the gang war or the political drama and everything, uh, it I'm sure it will be considered as a milestone film in Fahad's career and also Mahesh Narayan's career. It was actually a film they wanted to make long back, but they didn't get the budget. So after that, they had to make. I think Takeoff was their first collaboration. Then they did See You Soon during lockdown last year, and then they finally were able to do this, which was their ambitious project. And I just think if this would have come in theaters, I mean, just think of that experience. It would have gone up a notch. So yeah, so Malik for me, and Sneha already mentioned Nimisha's performance in Malik as well. So yeah, a lot of people. I think Vinay Fort was also very um, impressive in that role that he did. So yeah, so these were our Fab Four. My honorable mention will be hashtag Home, because hashtag Home was such a film which comes very rarely, comes once in a blue moon, where it's a family drama which makes you shed a few happy tears and a few sad tears, and there's a lot of emotion involved. Um, and again, the way it handled that subject, where and it happens in every household. I think the way that father is struggling to get used to the new age of technology, and him wanting to sort of get approved by his son. I think that in itself is a painful thought, and then to be able to execute it on screen and make the audience move. So Home will again be a very special film coming out of Malayalam industry.
So, if you've liked our, the podcast and liked our the movies that we've discussed, then please, just smash that like button and leave us your comments. Keep sharing it with your friends, and thank you for all your love that you had. And if you would like a full review, of course, then you can have all the reviews on Popcorn Reviews, which is my site. Keshav can leave it in the description below. And if you would like us to discuss any particular film, like make a podcast out of it, any language, language is not a barrier for us, as you can clearly see. So you can leave that too in the description below, I mean leave that in the comments too. And yeah, so we'll meet you all very soon with a fresh podcast. I think over the weekend Keshav would have it all planned, and you would see, I think, both of us in your next podcast as well. So thank you for having us, Keshav, and thank you for watching this video.